My name is Rosa, and this is my story. When I was 7 years old, something happened that I will never forget. It happened in the small village where we lived, surrounded by endless fields of rice crops. There weren't many houses around, just a few scattered here and there. My brother, Timmy, never experienced what I did. Maybe he was lucky, or maybe he just didn't see what I saw. But I know it was real. This is what happened to me, and it all started at 3 a.m. It was a quiet night, just like any other. The moon shone brightly, casting eerie shadows on the walls of our little wooden house. I had always been a light sleeper, and that night I woke up suddenly. I felt a chill in the air and pulled my blanket up to my chin. That's when I heard it, the sound of footsteps outside my bedroom window. Slow, deliberate footsteps, back and forth, back and forth. I squeezed my eyes shut, hoping it was just my imagination. But the footsteps continued. My heart pounded in my chest as I slowly turned my head to look at the window. The curtains fluttered gently in the breeze, and through the thin fabric, I could see a shadow moving outside. The next night, I tried to convince myself it was just a dream. But at exactly 3 a.m., the footsteps started again. I gathered all my courage and peeked out the window. There, in the pale moonlight, I saw a figure. It was a man, dressed in old, tattered clothes, his face pale and gaunt. He walked back and forth, never looking up, never stopping. I wanted to scream, to call for my parents, but my voice was stuck in my throat. I watched, frozen, as he continued his restless pacing. Finally, just as the first rays of dawn began to creep over the horizon, he vanished. Days passed, each night bringing the same terrifying routine. I became too scared to sleep, my eyes constantly darting to the window. I knew I had to find out who this man was and why he was haunting me. One afternoon, I overheard my parents talking with the neighbors. They mentioned something about the village's history, how it used to be a cemetery long ago. My blood ran cold. Could the ghostly figure outside my window be someone who had been buried here? I decided to ask old Mr. Garcia, the village elder, about the cemetery. He was reluctant at first, but finally, he told me the tragic story. Many years ago, a man named Victor lived in the village. He was a reclusive farmer, known for his strange behavior and dark secrets. One night, a terrible storm hit, and Victor vanished without a trace. Some say he was struck by lightning. Others believe something more sinister happened. The villagers buried what they found of him in the old cemetery, which was now our village. Armed with this knowledge, I knew I had to help Victor find peace. That night, I stayed awake, waiting for 3 a.m. When the footsteps started, I gathered all my courage and went to the window. I opened it slowly and called out, "Victor, is that you?" The figure stopped and turned to face me. His eyes were hollow, his face a mask of sorrow and anger. "Why?" he whispered, his voice like the wind through the trees. "Why did they leave me?" I told him the truth, that his death was an accident and he needed to move on. Tears streamed down his face as he listened. "Thank you," he said softly before fading away into the night. The next night, and every night after that, was peaceful. The footsteps never returned. I knew that Victor had finally found the peace he had been searching for. Our village remained quiet, with only the sounds of nature filling the air. Months later, curiosity got the better of me. I decided to explore the old cemetery with Timmy. We found ancient, crumbling tombstones and overgrown graves. One grave stood out. It was Victor's. The grave was surrounded by wildflowers, and I felt a strange sense of calm standing there. One rainy day, while rummaging through our attic, I found an old journal. It belonged to Victor. In it, he wrote about his lonely life, his struggles with the villagers, and his despair during that final stormy night. The last entry was haunting. He wrote about feeling abandoned and betrayed by everyone he knew. I shared the journal with my parents and Mr. Garcia. They were amazed and saddened by Victor's story. We decided to hold a small ceremony at his grave to honor his memory. The villagers gathered, bringing flowers and candles. We prayed for Victor, hoping he had found peace in the afterlife. Years have passed since those haunting nights. Our village has changed, but the memory of Victor lives on. I often think of him and hope he is happy, wherever he is. This is my story, a story of a ghost who walked outside my window at 3 a.m., and a story of a lonely soul who finally found peace. Now, every time I hear footsteps in the night, I smile and remember that even the loneliest spirits can find rest.